Hi, Henrik Knudsen here. I have the pleasure of being co-teacher with Sophocles in this course, Entrepreneurship, Entrepreneurship and Interpreneurship. Very much looking forward to it, and I would like to try and go through the important parts in this screencast. Screencast is limited to 15 minutes. I hope to get it done in a screencast, otherwise there might be some extra. And let's have a look at the course details, some of the introductory aspects. And here we have the curriculum. This will be the issues that we're covering tomorrow. And this is especially focusing on competencies, and then we'll be looking at De Bono and some lateral thinking, creativity. In the screencast, we'll be presenting the innovation diamond. We'll be covering some of the aspects of value creation. This introduction to business models and business plans will not be addressed, as Sophocles will be addressing this next week. Very important part of tomorrow's work will be working with the innovation space, the 4 P's of the innovation space. I'll get back to that in a minute. Otherwise, at the end of the curriculum, there's some organizations: University, Quilts of Denmark, Telecompany, Airbnb, Aarhus University Hospital, Vestas, and grocery store, Spar. Organizations I would like us to work with. I could actually include another e.dk, which is we'll just find it in a minute and put it in. Just up the road from Herning, or from where we are working with Carpets. Very, very interesting company. Then I've written a few words to you. Want us to have some fun, you and I want it to be challenging. I want to build competencies. Again, what are your competencies? And I expect you all to have at least 3 questions or reflections regarding the text of the screencast, and have them with you, or you're also very welcome to forward them to me. Okay. Let's get back to the PowerPoints for tomorrow. Your screencast will be here. Stands to reason it's not there because I'm doing it now. So then I want you to all to identify an entrepreneurial idea. Find out, come with something and say, this, in your opinion, is an entrepreneurial idea. And then I want you to consider, why is this interesting? Find an entrepreneur. Why is it interesting? Do you find it innovative? Can you imagine the business model or a business model behind the innovative idea? So this is for you to work on before our first meeting tomorrow. An entrepreneurial idea. Why it's interesting? Do you find it innovative? And please, if you want to, you're very welcome to mail it to me. This is today's reading. I've been through what we're going to focus on, so no further ado there. And just an introduction. How the economies are developing. This is looking at how the share of employment within agriculture has been decreasing. Interestingly enough, the output from agriculture is increasing. Why? Share of employment decreasing, output increasing. The amount of services as share of employment, people employed within creating services, is increasing, and time going this way. Per capita income i.e. the income per person is also increasing. Just a short reflection. I could add that we will also be looking at new business powers. So we'll be looking what's coming after this between agriculture, services and industry. What I'm thinking about there is aspects like sharing economy, experience economy, and other words in that direction. CPV, customer perceived value, and I think this is very essential. I asked you to download the value proposition canvas. In whether it's entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, it's all about creating value. And as the bonus said, we have to be creative to find new ways of creating value. And the customer perceived value is the difference between the expenses and the cost that the customer experiences and the benefit that each customer experiences. So the benefits could be some product or service benefits. You could develop on that. The personal benefit, image benefit. The expenses or the cost is what you pay, but it's also the time you use, i.e. in getting the service or the product. It's also the time used to getting it to work if it's a product. Do you use time assembling it, i.e. the IKEA concept? If you want to assemble it yourself, more time but less expensive. The energy cost, achieving it, getting it, disposing it, understanding it, using it. Psychological cost, and other aspects. So there's a lot of other aspects in it than just what you pay. I want you to be very noticed on this aspect. And then please note also value proposition. What's the difference? Just pause this screencast, reflect a few minutes, write down on a note to yourself, what is the difference between a value proposition and customer perceived value? Take a pause. Yes, customer perceived value is on the customer, the segments. Each segment has each customer actually has their own customer cost, but we tend to group them into different segments with specific characteristics. I'll come back to that in a minute. Just some of the repetition. I know you've been through it, but just for the sake that we're all on the same way of thinking. And the value proposition, this is what the organization, the company, thinks they're sending out to their segments. So what is the value proposition that we're delivering as an organization? And what is the customer perceived value of how the customers are taking it? I.e., students taking an education. Could say you're a customer. I'm the deliverer of a value proposition. The value proposition I think I'm giving you might not be the same, or probably isn't the same as your experience receiving. So we have to align these and keep working with them. What is the value proposition and what is the customer perceived value or the segment perceived value? In the text for today, there's a lot of data, innovation diamond, and I'd like just to go through it quickly because it's not very well explained in the text. Initially, we start in the center. So each project or each company with a project starts in the center. And then to some extent we we have this amount of knowledge in the organization. Aarhus University, BSS, BX Center Park, we have a certain amount of knowledge. Very difficult to measure, but if we went to it, we could try and estimate what are the knowledge areas we have and how deep is it. To some extent, when we're working with a project, we will use a certain extent of the knowledge within the organization. So how much of the knowledge is there in the organization and how much is used in the specific projects? And not the least, how much knowledge do we have access to? This is also important. There's a lot of knowledge in organizations that they don't know about or they cannot access, or both. They have no knowledge about and they have no idea how to access it. And then we have the relations in the organization, the relations in the class. Relations are important for knowledge sharing and knowledge generation. I think knowledge is something continuously developed. I'll get back to that. You can ask me about the Einstein example. Then we have ignorance. What do we not know? Well, this is non-knowledge. What is it concerning this organization? We have knowledge out here. What is it that we need to know from the outside? Open innovation. What is it we need? Which contacts do we need to qualify an idea or a project, entrepreneurial project, or entrepreneurial project that we're working with? And then we find out, we get working with some concepts. So the roles behind this is a challenger, gardener looking at relations, jesters trying to say, well, what is it? What if we did something else? What if we included some extra information? And then conceptualizer finding some new concepts, entrepreneurial ideas, new ideas for an organization to develop on their existing products. Looking at the S-curve. Note the S-curve from the pages that you have also read today. So are we moving upwards on an existing S-curve, or are we developing a new S-curve with a new project? Aesthetic, artistic. This is some of the arenas. We won't be getting into detail about these arenas. All I want you to be sharp and knowledgeable about is the Innovation Diamond. It's four areas. You start in the middle. You can develop the knowledge in the organization. You can develop the relations. You can develop the ignorance, the non-knowledge, and you can develop new concepts or developments on existing concepts. And then there's different roles that you could put to doing this. So that's the essence of the Innovation Diamond. And as I said, this could be linked to the S-curves, where we, in an entrepreneurial or in an innovation context, will be making incremental changes, i.e. developing on the same S-curve, or radical innovations, developing a new S-curve. If you wanted to elaborate it on, note it down, write it as one of the questions, and we'll look at it tomorrow. 13 minutes, 45 seconds. We only have 15 minutes per screencast, so shut it down now and then get back with the last slides on the second screencast. See you in a minute.